So the Indiana Fever plays tonight against the Las Vegas Aces, a game that they need to win. Let's get it.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome to another Live Wire Sports Media update. All right, let's talk about the Indiana Fever real quick. The Indiana Fever plays their second game in 3 days against the LA Aces. Now, a game that we saw Asia Wilson set the all-time scoring record in that game. Caitlin Clark has a chance tonight to set the assist record tonight. Now, but that's not my concern. My concern is what the hell that game was on Wednesday night. Now, I didn't do a video to it. I went back and watch it, but I was like, you know what? Hey, I got some other stuff to prolong with this. I do not think that what they doing should be experimenting. They should not be experimenting. Chrissy Sides will not be experimenting. This team is in the playoffs. And I said this in my last video. She waits till this team gets in the playoffs to start tweaking the excuse my language, tweaking the roster. Stop tweaking the roster when you need to continue to building cohesiveness with your starting unit and the bench players that comes in to contribute. If you're gonna bring Christy Wallace in the game, damn, you need to bring in Grace Berger. Why not Grace Berger gets a call? Why not she's on the bench? You haven't seen nothing from Victoria Saxon all year, unless it's cleanup time. Grace Berger did play it in the beginning of the season a little bit and got pushed back. I think she could be a better asset to help run the floor with Caitlin Clark. If you're going to experiment with her, not with Katie Lou, not with no Christy Wallace. You already got a steady rotation going. You got your starting five. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hall, Nalissa Smith, and Boston. Some say Nalissa Smith needs to be on the bench and let Timmy start. But in matchup situations, you should let Timmy start. Especially when you're playing the Aces, because guess what? Timmy can't. She's a little bit faster, and she could keep Asia Wilson at bay just enough. Another thing, too, is that we have to have better screening. Caitlin Clark played the worst game of her WNBA career that night. She literally shot her worst game from three-point line. Yeah, she managed to have 14 points, 16 points in that game, 6 assists in that game, 3 rebounds, 3 fouls, when she should have had over 20 and 10 in that game. Nalissa Smith had 9 points. Boston only had 6. She had 6 fouls. And she had 10 rebounds. We got to keep Boston out of foul trouble. The offense looked stagnant. Clark wasn't getting the ball. They wasn't setting screens for Clark. They wasn't playing none of their usual stuff because Caitlin Clark was tired. She came out at the beginning of the game. You want to send Katie Lou in. Lexi Hall had 4 fouls, but she only had 3 in the first half. You should have let her play through hers. My thing is this: if you had took Lexi Hall out, why not put Grace Berger in? Grace Berger probably could deal with a Jackie Young. Then they will leave Caitlin Clark or somebody like Chelsea Gray. But You put Doncic play 4 minutes, she didn't get no time. But you give Katie Lou Samuelson 10 minutes for what? 0 for 2, 0 for 1, 1 foul, 1 assist. Those minutes should have went to Doncic. Doncic would have been a better option because she could stretch the floor. Because then you don't have to worry about the paint being clogged up. Timmy Van Blaney is not a threat to score. She's there for defensive purposes. Katie Lou missed her first 3 shots. She has not hit anything from beyond the arc in the second half of the season at all, even going to the first half of the season. Nalissa Smith had 24 minutes, 9 points, 6 rebounds. You lose 86-75 in a game that was kind of close. You got it down a couple of times. You got close a couple of times. Erica Wheeler played 6 minutes, but hell, Erica Wheeler gave you 5 points. But you don't expect for her to do that every time. But she was a +5. Chrissy Wallace come in, give you 3 damn minutes, which you could have gave Grace Berger doing 3 minutes. Matter of fact, you could have split the minutes with her and Wheeler or Katie Lou. She came in, went 0 for 1 for the field, 0 for 3, missed a wide open 3. Caitlin Clark bounced past her assist. She missed a wide open ass 3. And then she thought the shit was funny. But anyway, I do have a very, very important clip for y'all. It's by Game Day Network. Shout out to Game Day Network for this, because this is a breakdown with Tim Legler and everybody from on ESPN talking about. And so I want y'all to take a listen to this and let me know what you think.
Loss. Caitlin Clark is now only 5 assists away from passing Alyssa Thomas for the most dimes in a single season. Even still, Tim Legler, I understand that as you were watching last night, you saw something that you were troubled by. What exactly is that?
Yes, Malik, it's how hard Caitlin Clark has to work for everything she does offensively. And I think when you have a weapon like this, that is so different than any other player in the league in terms of how you have to extend defensively, the amount of communication it takes to know where she is. I'd like to see more stuff involving her off the ball. This is going to be post-split action 101. Very simple stuff. Throw the ball into the post, and the feeder goes and screens for another player. Golden State Warriors run this better than any team in the league. This is what I think they need to do more of. Now, this is the best attempt of the 3 examples right here, what I'm about to show you. But again, it's not great spacing. It's not great player positioning at the start of it. Ideally, when you run post-split action, you'd like to have the entry feeder there and then that second player right there. Ball goes in, and then these 2 players interact. They try this, but you see where Caitlin Clark is on the weak side of the floor, to spacing and how the distances that she has to run to get herself involved in the offense. It's not great, but the ball does go in. Now, after this, the next part is this. This has to be a screen, and I put some of this on Caitlin Clark. She goes too soon, and she doesn't go tight enough to the screen. But ideally, what you're looking at is trying to get a screen here after the ball's in the post, bringing this player off, give her time to get over here. And what happens is, with a player like Caitlin Clark, a player like Steph Curry, inevitably it causes miscommunications. You'll get a jump out here on the switch from this guard, but you always get this second defender staying there because they're so worried about the switch not being communicated. You end up with 2 on the ball, and that would leave a great opportunity right here for Kelsey Mitchell to pop back for an open 3 or dive down the lane or get something out of it. Instead, they don't get to any of that. They throw it to Caitlin Clark too soon. She's left with one of these, a bunch of these on the night, forced tough contested shots in the paint. Next example. This one's on Caitlin Clark. Give Aaliyah Boston here, a legit post player, time. Get her into the post. And now let's go ahead and let's throw this entry pass. But the angle should be over here, not where Caitlin Clark is. If you were to do that, here's what it leads to. It leads to this post-split action. Go screen for your teammate, bring her off here. When you run that action, you now have an opportunity where 2 end up staying with Caitlin Clark. Instead, she forces a drive, another tough contested shot in the paint. Final one right here. Katie Lou Samuelson, I know she's not one of your better ball handlers, but the ball needs to advance over here to the wing to get that spacing you want. Again, you've got a post player down here. Throw the ball into the post, and then let's go get this action where you run the split. with Caitlin Clark bringing her off to the ball, and again, you force things like miscommunications where you get two jumping to the ball and you get a wide open shot for one of your best shooters, Samuelson, stepping back. Instead, she picks it up, never goes into post. All kinds of physical activity on the ball. You force Caitlin Clark into the paint, big hands up, another shot off the front of the rim on a drive. I think there are ways to allow the game to be simpler for Caitlin Clark and open up the game for other people because of the threat that she represents. I didn't see Indiana doing a lot of that last night as a result. Very difficult shooting night for Caitlin Clark.
Look, honestly, that's a very good breakdown right there. And you're right. You know, Caitlin Clark, she has to not slow down. But honestly, I wouldn't say this is on Caitlin Clark. I would say this is on the coach, because I guarantee Chrissy Sides is not breaking it down like that. That was a simple breakdown. Simple breakdown. I think what I was going to say is the play where Caitlin kind of took it to the rack, didn't really give time for Aaliyah to set up, which she should have been able to set up, and she was getting into that form right there to seal the defender. So Caitlin Clark, you know, at that instant, I'm talking about slow it down as far as let's start to work down low. Let's establish the down low presence. And let Aaliyah start get some feels, some touches, and start to dominate down there, you know, and really that's going to crash the defense down, and that will open up the three ball too. So especially when we're not shooting well, we have to start mixing up the offense. We have to start mixing up the offense. You know, we don't want to be a one-trick pony. I'm not saying that's what Caitlin Clark is. Obviously, she had a lot of attempts going to the rack last night, and that's where she found most of her success. So if she could do that and penetrate, and then now the defense has to crash down on her, oh, that's going to open up so many opportunities for corner pocket threes for Lexi Hall and Kelsey Mitchell. That could be rolling Lexi Hall or Kelsey Mitchell crashing down on a roll or a cut to the basket because Caitlin's forcing defenders to crash down on her. I mean, there's so many opportunities. So we just have to mix it up when it comes to the offense. We don't want to be, Caitlin Clark is the only one who's a threat on the offensive side. You know, we got to work everybody on the court. Everybody on the court needs to be able to have an opportunity to have defenders crash down on them. So that's what we're going to be looking for. But honestly, I'm going to be honest, I don't think the coaches break down the offense like that. I don't think they break down the game plan like that. Honestly, because we're not seeing much of a difference in the offense. When they see success, their best success is them playing fast and establishing the down low presence with AB, and that's going to leave Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark most of the time for open shots along with Lexi Hall. So, and then they like to play the high pick action, and a lot of teams are going to study that. I think we need to come with a different game plan. We need to watch film, especially against the Aces. This is a well-coached team. I'm focused on the Aces. I don't want to talk about the playoffs, anything else. I'm worried about the Aces tomorrow night. I think the Fever need to come out with a game plan. I watched Chrissy Sides. There wasn't much of a game plan. Let the bench players do what they got to do on the bench for right now, and let's focus on our game plan, what has been winning this games out of the break. So let's continue. Let's hear what they got to say. But that was a very, very good breakdown right there.
Aces obviously a formidable opponent here, and they've dominated the season series so far against the Fever. They've won all three meetings. The games, they haven't been particularly close. Vegas winning by an average of over 16 points per game. Really, to your point, Tim, holding Caitlin Clark in check. And, oh, by the way, these two teams, they meet again on Friday night for the final meeting of the regular season. So, Rebecca, the Fever, they're going to get another crack at the Aces tomorrow night as they try to snap a 14-game losing streak to Vegas. What do you want to see from Clark and Indiana on Friday here?
Well, there are a couple things that are interesting about this matchup. First of all, the Aces are the only team that Indiana has yet to beat this season. And the second part is this is kind of like a playoff feel. They played last night. They have one day off in between, and they'll play them again. And so I'm interested just to see what kind of changes and adjustments the coaches will make both on the offensive and defensive ends of the floor. And this is particularly important for Indiana for one reason. This is a team that lacks playoff experience. They have 19 total games of playoff experience on their roster. 0 games of that comes from their starting lineup. So this is a thing with 2 weeks left in the season where they can hone in, treat this like a playoff series, kind of treat it like a must-win game, get the rest and recovery that they need today, make the adjustments on the fly, but certainly a way to prepare a team who doesn't have much playoff experience for this kind of a playoff environment.
And as you know, Rebecca, if the Fever are able to get the win, it'll be their 20th of the season, officially ending their streak of 7 straight losing years.
All right, so you listen to that, and like again, shout out to Game Day Network for bringing that clip in and everything. The thing about it is, the Indiana Fever has talked, and Kelsey Mitchell they have talked about this throughout the season. Keeping the main thing the main thing. The main thing is stop switching for what's worked. Learn how to adjust. That's the one thing. That's one of many things Chrissy Sides do not know how to do, is to adjust to her opponents. She don't know how to adjust to what these experienced coaches like Becky Hammond or Cheryl Reeves have done, or some of these other coaches in the past. See, the Indiana Fever really needs a coach that's like a surgeon, because when you go to get top-notch coaches, you need a coach that's on that same level, that know how to play chess with them, because a lot of teams still knows that the Indiana Fever are a young team. They don't have the experience like the Aces, like the Storm, like the Lynx, like the Connecticut Suns, like the New York Liberty. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, yeah, they having success winning games and playing great basketball, but now you about to be in another phase of the season that the game's going to get tighter. It's going to get a little bit more physical, and you're going to have to know how to adjust to that. It's almost like Caitlin and AB going to have to think about how they played in the NCAA tournament, how the regular season was the regular season, but the tournament was a whole different thing. Same thing in the WNBA, but a little bit more. Chrissy Sides just need to stop experimenting. They need to find more ways to get creative with the offense. Especially, I do like how Caitlin did try to adjust her game, because she wasn't hitting shots from the outside, but I don't want her to try to continue to do that. I want to see her more gets in the paint, do floaters. She did all of that. Her shots just wasn't falling. The referees kind of played them out of the game, because she got all these offensive fouls on her when there was an offensive foul. Then AB's getting hacked. Alyssa Thomas getting hacked. There's no foul call. Jackie Young is hounding the hell out of Caitlin Clark. There ain't no fouls called. Do I think that would change tonight? I don't know. But Chrissy Sides cannot go into this game experimenting with Katie Lou, Erica Wheeler, and Chrissy Wallace. You just can't do that, because you're messing up the rotation of the team. You're messing up the chemistry of the team, the flow of the team. If they play in a certain way, allow them to play that same way. Now, I do believe if Aaliyah Boston gets in trouble, you need to add a person like Dantas in the game. You need to have Dantas and Tammy Fambelli in the game. Tammy can pick up Asia Wilson. When Asia Wilson is not in the game, this is where the Indiana Fever has to take control of the game. Soon as Asia Wilson stepped off that court and on the sideline, that's when you have to have your best unit in. Even if you gave AB a rest. Hell, my thing is this here. Start Timmy Fambele. As soon as Asia Wilson goes out, guess what? Take Tammy out. Bring Alyssa Smith in. Bring Dantas in. Put Boston on the bench. Allow Mitchell and Mitchell and Clark to run the show together. Then when Boston comes back, set Mitchell down, allow her and Boston to have that chemistry. Then when Mitchell comes back in, put Clark on the bench, bring Wheeler in. Hell, me personally, I will bring Grace Berger in to run the point while Clark is on the bench. I don't think Grace Berger did it before. She needs some time. Then what you could do with that notion, still run the same action. because then you could use Kelsey Mitchell as the 3-point outside shooter. You could use Grace Berger as the penetrator and the kick out and get the ball to Liz Boston. Then when Angel Wilson comes back in, you bring Timmy back in and you bring Clark back in. Because then you keep the pace of the game the same. You know what I'm saying? But their actions has to be a little bit more crispier because like Tim Legler was saying, Caitlin Clark releases too fast because they want to play fast, so they release fast. If they follow their action and release slow, you could easily get to the basket and move Asia Wilson out of the paint, where it's just be Aaliyah Boston down there getting rebounds. Tammy Van Bailey could be that person, or somebody like a Dantas could be that person. Hell, why not bring Dantas and Boston back on the floor together? You know what I'm saying? Dantas doesn't have to pick up a foul because the fact of the matter, she's a 3-point shooter. She stays on the outside into the paint. My thing is this here, like the young gentleman that breaks down videos also, Carter, shout out to him. He been preaching this all year, that the Indiana Fever worst defense is defending the perimeter. They cannot guard the 3-point line. They give up too many 3-point shots against them. When you had Asia Wilson had 27 and 12. Chelsea Gray had 4 assists, 11 points. She shouldn't even have 11 points. She should have had 2 points. She should have had more fouls than she had. Jackie Young had 5 fouls, 6 points. Okay, that neutralizes a little bit. Kelsey Plum only had 9 points. But guess what? 2 of hers was 3-pointers. She was 2 for 5. Then you had Alicia Clark, 14 points off the bench. 14 points off the bench. They bench scored 26, 28, 30 points off the bench. They bench had 30 points. Our bench only had 11. We can't allow that. Alicia Clark was 4 from 6 from 3-point line. Tiffany Hayes was 3 for 4. With 5 rebounds. Alicia Clark, 4 rebounds. So, and they bench is deep. If you look at they bench, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players on the bench. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 also. But guess what? 3 of their people didn't play. With their starters, they ran with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They ran 9 deep. We have our 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We ran 10 and still couldn't do nothing. To me, Grace Berger should take the place of Christy Wallace. I hate to say it, and I'm going to keep harping on it. Grace Berger needs some time. We were 7 for 26 from 3-point line in that game. 29 for 73 from the field. Reboundings was both the same because both teams had 34 rebounds together. Assists, they had 20. We had 15. That's bad because Clark only had 6 assists. Personal fouls, they only had 14. We had 19 fouls. 26% from 3, 39 from the field. So my thing is this here. If you're going to compete against the best and you're going to try to pick up a signature win tonight, everything that's in that video illustrated has to change. Better action, better ball movement, defend the perimeter. If you defend the perimeter, you could be in these games. This game could, if you had control 14 points off the, if you think about it, think about this, what the Fever did. And the Fever had not allow 26 points off the bench, guess what's that? That's 50. That's 66 points. What? No, that's 60 points. You win the game. But you got to put the right people in place. To me, Alicia, I would have had a Grace Berger on Alicia Clark or Stephanie Colston, or Hayes. One of them. Katie Lou slow. Alyssa Smith is slow, but she moved faster than Katie Lou. Grace Berger just gets on the floor and run around. She doesn't know. She don't stick with nobody. She just runs around. As soon as she gets on the floor, she just runs around. I don't know what to tell you. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Keep them bells ringing anytime I drop a hardcore video. And you know what I say at any time in a video, you know what it is.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.